What's up, y'all? It's the Dr.Investor back again with another video. So today's topic, I'm going to tell you guys how to keep great tenants renewing their lease every year because they're satisfied with the property they're in and they have a great Tier 1 landlord. So before I get into the topic, y'all know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll be right back with the topic. This will not even work if you do not have high quality tenants, because you do not want to keep low quality tenants in your property for a long time, because that just prolongs damage to your property, headaches that you have to deal with. You want to make sure that you're putting high quality tenants into your property. If you watch any of my previous videos, I go in depth of how to find high quality tenants, what to do with your screening process in order to get these high quality tenants in. So as I mentioned before, the biggest expense for you as a landlord is turnover in your property. Turnover is when a tenant moves out and another tenant moves in. I personally love the Section 8 program, so turnover can take a very long time and cost me a lot of money because it takes a long time to find a new Section 8 tenant and to go through that whole inspection process and then to get a new tenant within your property. So I'm going to tell you guys how to keep your tenants satisfied and keep them renewing their lease every year. I love the Section 8 program because it helps low-income families get into high-quality properties, and Section 8 is willing to subsidize it, so you as a landlord are still getting paid at or above market rent for your property in this great neighborhood. So if you want lifelong tenants, your best bet is to go through the Section 8 process. This is because with Section 8, a lot of these families cannot afford to buy their own home or market rent of these great properties, but they're just like you and me. They want to be in the great neighborhood so their kids can go to a great school and they can feel safe going outside. But unfortunately, they may never be in a financial position to buy their own property. If you have a great property in a great neighborhood and you're renting out to market rate tenants, it's much harder to have a lifelong tenant or a tenant that stays a long time, because if they can afford this $3,000, $4,000 in rent, at some point they're gonna say to themselves, like, I'm tired of paying this landlord rent. I'm gonna buy my own house. It makes more financial sense for a lot of market rate tenants to just buy their own home because they're already dishing out $3,000, $4,000 in rent. So at that point, they'd rather pay a mortgage than pay so much in rent. So even if they're great tenants, they end up moving out because they can afford to buy a home. But this is not the case with Section 8 tenants. So that's one of the reasons I love the Section 8 program and rent out to Section 8 tenants. So let me walk you through some of the things I do to retain my tenants and make sure that they're happy. Step number one, I make sure, me as a landlord, that the maintenance of my property is up to date. Even if your house was completely renovated and brand new, something is going to break down and the tenant is going to bring that to your attention. So I make sure I tend to maintenance requests as soon as possible so the tenant doesn't feel like I'm neglecting the property and the tenant feels like I'm not neglecting them as tenants. So make sure that you're prompt with maintenance requests. So tenant to maintenance requests is pretty standard across all landlords, but because I consider myself a high quality landlord, I go above and beyond of what landlords do. So I make sure when my tenants move in that I know their birthdays, their kids' birthdays, to make sure when those dates come around, I give the kids gifts. I give the mother of the child gifts. Or if there's a father involved, I also give the father of the family gifts as well, so that they feel special. It's very important to treat your real estate business as a business, making sure you maximize your income and minimize your costs. But in order to do that, you must also make sure you're keeping your tenants happy, because you do not want the cost of turnover, which is a tenant moving out and a new tenant moving in. That can ruin your cash flow for the year. So it's important to have great hospitality as a landlord. So I would recommend all landlords read this book called Unreasonable Hospitality, because if you're a landlord, you're also in the hospitality business, and it's important that your tenants feel listened to and cared for. Specifically with Section 8 tenants, it's mostly single mothers with multiple kids. Because I know this, I make sure for Mother's Day that I give my tenants cards and flowers to make sure that they know they are appreciated. I know you can probably not think of many landlords who do this, but because I am an exceptional tier 1 high quality landlord, I'm willing to go above and beyond to make sure my tenants feel special. And that means something to a tenant. So that tenant's most likely to stay in your property because they feel valued. And like I said before, that high quality tenant staying in your property saves you and makes you a lot of money. At baseline, it is expected for a tenant to keep your property in good condition. Hopefully they are. And your tenant is also expecting for you as a landlord to keep the maintenance of your property up to date. So if you are a good landlord with good tenants in their property, they should be willing to pay you back by at least taking great care of your property, because you're taking great care of them, and it becomes a cycle. You have individuals in your home taking good care of it, which leads to less maintenance in the property, which ultimately lowers your cost as a landlord of maintenance fees to keep up with. And if you have tenants that have been staying for a very long time, like 5 years and up, another thing that you may do as a landlord, if you can afford it, is treat your tenants to a vacation. What landlord do you know that does that? As a tenant, you'd be so happy and valued as a tenant that you'll think to yourself like, man, I'll never find a landlord like this again. I don't even want to look at other properties to move into because my landlord is so top tier and high quality that I may never find one like him again. I'm staying here forever. That's a wrap on my video on how to keep tenants staying in your rental property for a long time. If you like this video, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll be back with another fire video again. My goal for September is to reach 600 subscribers. If I know you all, we're gonna smash that goal. If you know anybody that'll benefit from my content, make sure you are sharing it with them. The Dr. Investor is out.